Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report. I am Yomi Otaigbe. The rains have been on and off, and this has been the situation as predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Days of intense intermittent rainfall are now turning into weeks, bringing mixed blessings to Nigerians. We'll focus on this and other related stories on this edition of the program. Earlier this year, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, predicted heavy rainfall and flash floods in most parts of the country. That forecast has since been playing out, especially in this quarter of the year. Floods resulting from rainfall are taking their toll on communities across the country, especially in the north. Eyewitness Report collates the effect in Bauchi, Borno, and Jigawa states.
Recent downpours results in floods submerging homes and farmland. 4 local government areas in Jigawa State, including Ringim, Dutse, Gwaram, and Birnin Kudu, are particularly affected. 83 people, mostly children, have reportedly lost their lives to flood-related circumstances between August and September. Akwawa Road, which connects Miga and Jahun local government area, is cut off by flooding, forcing people to seek other alternatives to travel. Most of the displaced persons now live in public buildings. The chairman of the Ringim local government area lists communities affected in his local council.
We have the flood, as you have seen. We have a lot of communities and villages. Have been affected for this flooding. We are starting from Debi, Karama, Marawa, Majiawa, Sentilma, Malama Enduse, Chori, and Garengada. Lastly, Sankara. This flood has been occurred for the first 7 days, and a lot of people have lost their life. About 8 people have lost their life.
In Kanaya village, Dutse, displaced persons have been living in a primary school for weeks. Within the period, about 7 babies were born in the temporary camp.
Akalla ba kasar ba kuma akwai wacce ta yi barin ƴaƴa biyu ko ciwon rayun abun nan ne Allah ka abun can muka tafi da Bashar aka yi tsakanin muka dawo asibitin Dutse aka ce ɗaya ya fito ɗaya bai fito.
Despite the increase in death toll, the Jigawa state government pledges to support the victims while appealing to the general public to also assist them with food and other material to cushion the effects of the flood. Like Jigawa, flood has been a recurring decimal to residents of Maiduguri, Borno State. None in the past 28 years has been deadly as that of this year. Residents of communities in Maiduguri and Jere local government area have seen their houses flooded by heavy rainfall, leading to displacement of many.
This is exactly 8 years, 28 years after the 1994 flood disaster. So we are already in a crisis needing humanitarian crisis. And also, if this issue will be neglected or handled carelessly, we are still going into another new phase of humanitarian crisis.
Farmland have also been destroyed, thereby threatening the efforts of the state government in promoting agricultural activities. Owing to the rising number of deaths, the Nigerian Red Cross Society in Borno State says it has deployed its personnel to flood-prone areas to avert impending danger.
We have deployed our men to various locations where children and other adolescents are playing on the river. So that's why you see our people. We are sensitizing the host communities there, and we are also stopping the children from playing in the river.
However, the Borno State Commissioner for Work says government has been working to address flood challenges across the state.
The government is set, completely set, to address the issue of lack of drainages and also the maintenance of the drainages that have been constructed but that have been blocked due to garbages that fill these drainages. Some of them, like this year, there had been really heavy rain almost across the state. And so I wouldn't call it is gentle, but this year the rains have been particularly heavy. And so the water levels in even our rivers have risen. You know, these are things they are already moving around their natural course. But so what we are doing is all the roads we are doing, we construct them and link them to drainages, to outfalls, that is like rivers or ponds that the waters drain into, away from the communities.
Meanwhile, the management of Alau Dam and River and Gladabul have announced that the water bodies are overflooded and will be open to free the water. This means that residents of Maiduguri should expect more flooding in the state capital soon.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, here come Northern Stars.
The governors of Northeast have raised alarm over the flood situation in the region. In a communique issued at the end of a recent meeting in Gombe State, the governors appealed to the federal government for urgent intervention.
The forum expressed grave concern about the devastating effect of flooding, which is destroying homes and livelihood, including road infrastructures. The forum therefore calls on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, direct its relevant agencies to immediately deploy all necessary interventions to ameliorate the situation in the affected areas.
Communities in parts of Bauchi State are also affected by flooding, leading to the death of 3 people. Authorities say more than 1,000 houses are destroyed and several farm produce lost in the flood. At least 6 sections of roads have also been washed away and communities cut off in Gamawa, Zaki and Ningi local government areas. During a visit to those affected areas, Governor Bala Mohammed promises to provide food and medicine.
They will arrest and harness the surface water resources that we have coming from the Bilimi River and Jamari River, and also to come up with technology that will create some discharge services down to the communities in Yobe and in Borno State, so that their areas are not dry. I am calling on the federal government to urgently address this issue by bringing us the communities that are suffering and the downstream communities, so that perception problem, agitation will be allayed, and we'll be able to harness the water resources with the huge potentials for agriculture and development in this area. Anything short of that is just touching on the surface. We have to do it because you can see what is happening in Jigawa and in other places. I mean, on the meantime, we have come with little assistance, 2 trailers of maize, totaling 1,200 bags, and 2 vehicles of medicaments.
The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency reports that Jigawa is the worst hit state by flooding this year. During the presentation of the national flood situation in Abuja, the Director General for the agency, Clement Inze, explains that further alert has been sent to state governments detailing some high probable flood risk areas.
Some years ago, Niger State had what they call wet housing and dry housing. They built some houses upland. During the rainy season, the citizens relocate to the upland and be staying there and be visiting the plains of the river Niger to do their business. In the night, in the evening, they go back upland. Because if you leave them there at the flood plain, the flood could come at night. When Cameroon built their own Lagdo Dam in 1977 to 1982, Lagdo Dam, they advised Nigeria to build a buffer dam within Nigeria, that in the event they release water or their own dam collapses, our own dam will capture what is coming down.
The agency said it's monitoring the developments of the River Benue sub-basin and keeping a close contact with the Cameroonian authorities should they decide to release water from the Lagdo Dam. Flood is wreaking havoc across the country, and the impact on human lives and property has been enormous. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, reveals that more than 300 people have been killed in flood disasters across Nigeria in 2022. According to the Director General of the agency, the impact of the disaster this year could surpass that of 2012, which has been the worst flood disaster recorded in recent times in Nigeria.
This year, the floods we have received that has hit this country or has hit communities is the worst. We get more than 50 alerts in a day. We get more than 100 and something communities hit in one day, worse than 2012. And it's still going up. The numbers are still going up. Based on seasonal climate prediction and annual flood outlook released by NIMET and NISA. I don't have the figure accurately, but I think it's about 300 and something lives have been lost so far.
NEMA and other relevant agencies are hoping that states are able to enforce flood forecasts and mitigate its impact, hence reducing disaster.
In Yobe State, a group of concerned residents have initiated a tree planting exercise in 3 communities battling with erosion caused by flood.
Erosion has been a major environmental threat in most Nigerian communities, forcing the federal government to periodically allocate ecological funds to fight the natural disaster. Communities of Pompomari, Sumsuma, and Kukareta in Yobe State are not left out, as farmlands, houses and roads linking these communities have been destroyed.
Erosion has caused so many havocs to our people here, looking at the fact that one cannot even enter with his vehicle, cannot come into the community with his vehicle. As you can see, the erosion has cut off the only pedestrian or access roads that we have into the community. And it is also damaging the houses, the buildings of our residents, since the dredging of this security trench behind the community. You know, before the dredging of the security trench, the water that falls used to go down there, but now, due to this dredging, the water used to come down to Sumsuma before it find out its way.
To ameliorate this challenge, a civil society organization, Site of Hope and Peace Advancement Initiative, is empowering internally displaced women to plant economic trees in Kukareta community.
These trees we are going to plant are economic trees, in the sense that their fruit can be used to get money from the market when they sell it. So mainly it's for women, in order to reduce their trauma situation, because you know most of them here are the host community as IDPs, and they have went through series of trauma and stressful conditions because of the Boko Haram crisis that occurred before now.
As citizens of this nation, they have the rights that actually the Constitution has provided for them. And as a Human Rights Commission, the planting of tree here was actually selected, and is part of their right to, in Section 2, the right to welfare. Because if the trees are planted, it tends to provide a lot of protection for them, one, in terms of preventing their house from environmental hazard, and then at the same time providing them with shade. And the trees that are brought today here are economic trees, and that tends to empower them so that it will now improve on their welfare of living. Most of them are IDPs, and some of them are returnees who are displaced in the community.
The district head of the community expresses gratitude for the gesture.
We are very happy about it, and we will be very grateful to this occasion also today. And we can still inform all our people to start it, planting the trees.
Kukareta community, located 23 kilometers away from Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, has accommodated over 17,000 internally displaced persons between 2014 and 2017, during the peak of the Boko Haram insurgency.
Welcome back. Amidst torrential rainfall witnessed in Lagos State, Nigeria's commercial capital, images of a building which seems to be sinking in the Maryland area of the state were sent in by Eyewitness reporters. Channels Television followed up on the story.
An eyewitness video and pictures reveal how people were carefully rescued by emergency responders as rainwater rises in part of Akinwumi North Estate in Mende, Kushafe local government area of Lagos State. Occupants of an allegedly sinking building are carried on the back through a flooded portion. Response comes shortly after emergency responders receive a distress call from one of the occupants. The Lagos coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in a statement confirmed that 9 persons were rescued from the building.
Another thing is that we
24 hours later, the flood subsides, allowing residents to easily go through to access their homes, unlike the previous day. However, the rainfall continues intermittently. The alleged sinking building is a finished one-story house with 4 flats. Although the water in the premises has since reduced, close-up camera shots suggest the level of water makes it impossible for one to access apartments on the ground floor and does not seem safe to accommodate anyone. Not surprising that none of the occupants is available at the time of recording. Channels Television catches up with Daniel Okereke, the owner of the house in question, who came under public backlash on the social media for building a house without a strong foundation. He denies earlier reports that his house is sinking.
No building is sinking here. What we just have here is because this is a swampy environment. So when you build, you have to use piling machines to pile. So in some cases, in exceptional cases, there could be a little till thing. Okay, like my residence, for instance, now, it's been here, I've been living here since 2008. And I'll be very, very out of my mind to be living in a building that is sinking or that has any threat to collapse, because I know the law. I'm a responsible Nigerian citizen. So it's practically impossible for me to be in that kind of situation. Okay, so what we have here is a case where you have people who build on swampy environments, and then once in a while the buildings can tilt, but that doesn't change the fact that the building is solid right from the foundation, right into about 20 feet into the ground. No 9 persons were living were rescued. And number 1, I don't even have 9 tenants, I have 4 tenants. They are 4 young ladies that live there now. I used to have 3 ladies and 1 guy, but he relocated and all that, so somebody else moved in. So it's 4 ladies that is there. So while I was living yesterday, one of them that just moved in, based on the fact that she was just experiencing this for the first time, not knowing that there will be a water surge and then it will recede. It's just that panic that made her make those calls. And she has apologized to me, and all is fine.
Mr. Okereke also debunks reports that he earlier escaped on noticing that the building has started sinking and was arrested by the police when he came back to the scene.
So I know this is a natural occurrence, in as much that the government can come in and help us alleviate the level of the water and all that, and we live more comfortably here. The truth of the matter is that why will I be arrested when I've not gone against the law? After all, what is supposed to happen if in any claims society, if I've lost 5 cars here, lost generators, lost personal properties, the government should be coming to compensate me, not the other way around. So why will I be arrested? I have not committed any crime. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I got every approval I needed to do the construction of my building. Okay, and other landlords around here, I believe some of them that I know did the same thing. So why will you be arresting somebody for a natural occurrence that is not the person's cause? So nobody arrested me. The law enforcement agents were here, rescue mission and so on. They were here yesterday, and all they just did was to ask questions and see whether there's any way they can help. When they saw there wasn't any tragedy, no building collapse, all the news that has been flying around were fake and so on, they even sympathized with me.
Apart from Mr. Okereke's, 5 other buildings in this part of the estate are surrounded by water. 2 of the houses have no one living in them. Neighbors say the occupants might have been displaced by flood. Homeowners here allege that the overflow is worsened by construction activities and a blocked canal which runs through the area.
The problem is the canal, and we have been begging the government on how to help us to clear the canal so that there will be overflow. And if they clear the canal, automatically will not have problem. Though the drainage, Lagos State drainage, they were here sometimes, but they told us that the facilities are not yet ready. So we are still waiting on them. But this time around, I want to use this opportunity to beg Lagos State government to come to our aid. There's no sinking house here. The only thing is that the flooding that came yesterday was very heavy. As you can see, we are not the only people living beside canal. Lagos State is known as flooding area. So if people can even go to Bar Beach and close Bar Beach and use it for, we here, not that the flood here is more than the one in Ireland. It's only that the drainage, the canal need to be drilled. There is no danger here. The rain does not come with speed. It's just like a flood that occupies. When it comes, when the canal filled, it will just be bouncing back. And if you give it a little while, it will flow. There is no danger. We didn't see any danger here. The only thing we beg is just to open the canal so that there will be a free flow to the lagoon.
It's been alleged that because of the construction of the bridge that is going on Opebi-Mende Link Bridge, which is a landmark project of the government, of the Lagos State government, that the water is overflowing from there and affecting neighboring communities. So I think what the government needs to do is to consult the company in charge of this construction so that they'll be able to dredge the canal. Once they dredge this canal, we'll be good. We'll be happy with ourselves, we'll be comfortable. And then our properties that we've used our life investments to put in here, to be able to put up a structure to live and all that, and just be like every regular Nigerian, will be much more valuable to us.
These claims can only be verified by relevant authorities. Like Mende, other lowland areas in Lagos have been witnessing flash floods due to rainfall, which is likely to continue in the coming days.
Eyewitness Report gives your voice a meaning to attract desired development to your neighborhood, and that has been made possible through the use of your mobile devices. As an eyewitness reporter, you can capture and send pictures and videos of activities around you to our platform on the Channels TV app to enable us tell your stories from your perspective. Just download the app from the online stores if you don't have one already and follow the instructions to upload your images. We'll then take it up from there. Let's see some of the pictures you've sent in.
This segment of the program begins with a video from Abia State. The Eyewitness reporter laments the deplorable condition of Iberenta Iyalu Road in Ikwano local government area of the state. The reporter is worried that the only road that leads to his community has remained like this since he was born over 50 years ago. Presently, the earth road is almost impassable and it is speedily eroded by rain. Sadly, as bad as it is, politicians drive through the road to seek the votes of the electorate during election campaigns.
50 years going to 51 years old now. This road is, look at it. Look at it. You see where we're driving? If rain falls, you cannot drive this road.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts through those pictures. This edition of the program ends here, and we promise to return same time next week. I'm Yomi Otaibi.